Hi guys, how is it going? So today's video is about social media, and if you've seen any of my videos, you probably have an idea that I'm not a fan of social media. And at the start of this year, I finally decided to just come off it. So I think Feb this year, was it Feb this year? Yeah, I think around Feb this year. I just decided I did it. I actually wanted to go off for like 1 week and like take a break, and then I just didn't go back. So this is not a video to preach to anybody to come off social media, because I think it's a personal choice. Some people enjoy it, some people it doesn't affect them mentally, some people it just doesn't, it just does different things to different people. So this is not a video to encourage, and well, not encourage, it's to try to convince anyone to like get off social media. Like I said, it's a personal choice. However, if you are thinking about coming off socials, this video is for you. So it's for people that are thinking about it, that have been considering it, and here is your sign. Essentially, I'm going to tell my journey so far with like taking a break from social media, and hopefully you can find it useful, encouraging, and to finally take that step. So why did I decide to leave? Number one, I just got sick of like the mindless scrolling. I just used to find that a lot of the time I'll just be on social media, not just impulsively pick up my phone and start scrolling. And before I know it, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour is gone. And I'm just like, what? And I think the part that really got me is like, while I'm scrolling, I'm like hating doing it, but I couldn't stop. Like I'll just keep going and just be like, I really just hate this thing that I'm doing. But it was just so addictive, that it was just so mindless and so addictive that I just couldn't control it. So I'd spend time and time on socials and just waste a lot of time. Another reason is because I also wanted meaningful things to occupy my time. So it goes back to the mindless scrolling, like being on there for like an hour or two, and then an hour or two. I don't know if I was that bad being on 2 hours straight, but just like if you round up the whole day, maybe I was on it for like 2, 3 hours. That's a lot of time that could have gone into something that's more meaningful. And when I say meaningful, it doesn't mean you have to be doing something with that time. Like, oh, you have to be doing a project or be doing something productive. No, that's not the point. You could be reading a book. You could just be laying there and watching a movie. You could be taking a nap. It doesn't, I'm not saying you have to be productive with that time, but just something else that you enjoy more than social media, because half the time you probably don't even enjoy it as much. It's just so addictive, and it's just something we do all the time that we don't even think whether we enjoy it or not. We just do it because everyone else does it. A third reason why I came off it is also I would see constant content and like different content, and I felt like I was being pulled in different direction of the type of content I should create. I don't know. It just felt like, because I'm a content creator. I guess not as big as the typical content creators you imagine, but I am. I create content for YouTube. I try to create content for Instagram, but I never really enjoyed Instagram enough to put time into creating stuff for Instagram. But I just always felt like, oh, that could be me doing that. That could be me doing the dressing up, how to get ready with me. That could be me. And I just couldn't really just enjoy it for like people just doing stuff. It was always me thinking, oh, why are you not doing content? Why are you not posting on Instagram? And I just hated it. It just didn't feel nice, because I was always kind of like judging myself every time I indulge in someone's content, because it would always be, but you could be doing that. But I really didn't want to do it, but somehow I felt like I should be doing it. And the same whole thing with content is, I also just felt like my content would just not match up to like the standard, the aesthetic. And I personally hate the perfect. Did you feel that hate? Because it came from deep within my soul. I hate the perfect aesthetics of Instagram, the whole perfection and the whole get ready with me and it looks perfect, or my house, just whatever content people create. I just hated the whole perfection, and that didn't align with me. And somehow knowing that I didn't want my content to be like that, if I ever committed to posting on Instagram, I also just thought it would never live up to that that level. I don't know. It was always a constant battle in my head. Not all the time, but a lot of the time it would always be a constant battle of me just not being able to just really just enjoy people's content without really putting myself in it. So obviously, which leads to not good for my mental health, because you can't always just, it's not sustainable to always experience that and to always feel a little bit judgy of yourself every time you're just on Instagram. So it wasn't good for my mental health. So moving on to the next part is what to expect. Let me tell you something. If you do decide to leave your socials for more than a month, these are the things you should expect. Your friends and family generally concerned for you. Depending on how active you are, I think if you're not really active on socials, you probably just like are the one not to post, but like to kind of like just scroll, then maybe they wouldn't know you're there or not. But if you're active on social media, you post on your story, you post on your feed, people are going to be generally concerned and be like, are you okay? Is all well with you? People would generally think you are depressed. They would generally think there's a tragedy, Jesus, that has happened. Or you're going through it, like you're fighting battles. I feel like it's very hard for people to like, not everyone, but it's very hard for a lot of people to just say, for you to tell someone that, oh, I'm off social media, I'm perfectly fine. I'm probably even happier actually. For them to just be like, oh, nice. Some people would be like, nice, but other people are like, they just cannot process the fact that you're off the socials. Like, especially family members. And I think it's because they know that you've been posting and they're just genuinely concerned. So you have to really explain to people and be like, I'm fine. One thing to also expect is you may now use instead of being on social media, you may use other things that are not quite positive to replace social media. So you may get back into other habits that you're using to replace social media. So you have to be really careful that you're not falling into like bad habits. And an example that I that I can use myself an example is recently actually, because at the beginning I was pretty fine. I think in the last month I've been watching a bit more YouTube, and not just normal YouTube where like people are actually like, it's entertaining, it's whatever. It's YouTube like gossip about TikTok. You know what I mean? People are like gathering information about TikTok and they're like talking about it on YouTube. And I find myself like watching some of those like to see what's happening, not to see what's happening. I feel like it just comes on my feed, I don't know, somehow. And I've been indulging in that. And there's nothing wrong with that if you want to know what the gossip is. Like, why not? But it's just being mindful and not overly indulging in that, because if you're really watching TikTok through YouTube, then you might as well just go back on TikTok. You know what I mean? Like, don't overindulge in those other things that you're using to replace social media. Now let's move to the pros and cons of being on off social media. There are definitely cons to being off social media. And I'll start with the cons actually, because you think it would be all pros, but gosh, there are some cons involved in this. Number one con is I do not know anything that's happening in the world. Just know that you won't know anything that's happening in the world. Like, you would be like you'll be like you're living off the grid / under the rock, because a lot of us consume it's when you get off it, you realize that a lot of the news that you consume and a lot of the things that you know that's happening around the world is because you're on social media. News comes from social media. Unless you are intentional about watching the news or putting on a news podcast, if that's something you generally enjoy doing or you do anyway, you would have to intentionally do it to know what's happening in the world. So if that's not something you generally enjoy, watching the news or listening to the news, then you're like, it's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit of a tricky one. This point is also a pro, but for now, we're talking about the con of this point is sometimes you should just be educated on what's happening in your world. Like, it's just good to know sometimes what's happening in the world. And if you're off social media, you may not know. So it means you have to be a bit intentional about seeking out news. The second con is, let me tell you, is you forget everyone's birthday. You don't know how much social media reminds you of people's birthday because they post it, because they say someone posted them. You remember your friend's birthday, you remember your well, I remember my sister's birthday, I'm not that bad. You just remember people's birthdays, but when you're not on social media, you are going to be missing out on birthdays. You will be missing out on wishing your friends and some family members happy birthday. The way I've been missing my niece's birthday this year, I'm not the best auntie. Let me tell you something. You have to put key dates in your calendar unless you're going to forget. Another con is the funny memes. The funny memes are literally what makes social media fun. Yes, there's other contents and there's other goss and there's other things, but the funny memes that you get to share with your friends, you get to share with family, or you don't even get to share because you just yourself and enjoy it. I think the funny memes, I really miss those. I think it's the highlight of being on social media, but you don't get to enjoy those funny memes anymore. The final one is that I have here. I'm sure there's a few more cons, but there's other ones I can think of right now. Is all your cute pictures, or your pictures of food that you've taken, or maybe you've been on holiday. Mostly your cute pictures, you just can't. No one's gonna see it. They will be relaxing and chilling in your photo album, and that's where they're gonna be. That's where they're gonna be. No one's gonna see those cute pictures, those little outfits that you wear that you're like, oh, that you post on your story that you want people to see. No one's gonna see them. It will be you on your screen. And if you have a babe, that's still a person. The only thing you can do is change your WhatsApp DP quite frequently. But who's looking at your WhatsApp DP? It's probably gonna be the only people that comment to my WhatsApp DP is probably my dad. My dad stays commenting on my WhatsApp. He's like, this one's nice. I'm like, thanks, Dad. At least someone's looking at it. But yeah, no one's looking at your DP. Let's move on to the pros of living social media. I feel like you guys already kind of know some of the pros that I've already mentioned. There's just less distraction and less wasted time. You're just using time on more meaningful things that you enjoy. So for example, I've read more books this year than I've read in a really long time. As soon as I finish a book, I'm picking up the next one. I've just been on a roll with like books. I've been enjoying reading books, and I've read a lot of books because I have time. The time I spend using to scroll on Insta or TikTok, I use it to read or do other things. But I've read more, and I've just created more time for like other things that I enjoy, Like I said, you know nothing about what's happening in the world, which I said it's a pro and a con, but the pro of this is it's actually great not to know what's happening in the world. Like, especially like celebrity gossip, influencer nonsense, all this stuff. Like, it's so much junk information anyway. Even the things that are happening in the world, a lot of things are just junk information that we just consume and consume and consume. That just weighs on us in a way that we don't even know. I think on a subconscious level, a lot of that information, especially the toxic ones, they really just weigh on us in a way that we don't know. And I feel like not knowing what's happening in the world can be a fantastic thing, honestly. If you really care about the news, if you really want to know what's happening globally or in your local community, do your little search of the news that week, catch yourself up, and move on. Not knowing the goss and what's happening in the world, or who's beefing who and who's this and who's what Donald Trump said last week. I don't want to know. Enjoying people's company, I think that's a big thing. I was on dinner with one of my friends, not to be putting our business on blast, but if she does see this video, and we were just having drinks, and she was just scrolling on her phone, like quiet and scrolling. I'm like, are you serious? I'm right here in front of you. I haven't seen you in ages, and you're scrolling on your phone. Why? Why are you? So she was like, oh yeah, she was like, oh sorry, I don't even know why. She didn't even realize that she was doing it, because it's just, like I said, it's such a mindless thing that we do. And I just love the fact that when I'm with someone, when I'm with family, I don't have that obsessive need to pick up my phone. Yes, I may pick it up to see if I've been messaged, but there isn't an obsessive need to like just do it, to just pick up my phone. I'm actually here with the person. I'm enjoying their company. We're talking, we're having conversations, we're laughing. I don't need to have my phone next to me. I can put my phone in the room and just be around people and not worry about it. Losing the need to film everything, to film my travels. I've traveled quite a bit this year, and I haven't felt the need to film it. I've done cool stuff. I've done things. I've eaten nice foods. I don't have the need to to record it, to capture it. Yes, some of the things I've captured, of course I captured my holiday, but it's for me to look at. It's for my DP and my dad. But it's really for me to just capture them for memories, not because I want people to see. Just releasing yourself from that need of people have to see. It didn't happen if people didn't see it, that whole thing that people say as a joke, but that's really how we live our lives. Like, people have to see it in order for you to feel like it's really happened and it's really happening or it's special. I don't know. I just feel like just being able to be there and just enjoy what you're doing. The lesson certainly not the list is I have better mental health. My mental health is, it's not to say other things don't bother me or like other things don't affect my mental health. Of course they do. Like, being on social media is not the complete cure for your mental health, but Jesus, it does something to it. It does something positive to your mental health being off it. And I feel like my mental health is in a better place. I've really just lived I've been enjoying such a peaceful year. I've not compared myself to many people. I feel like maybe on a subconscious level, yes, maybe I have, yes, but just like on a constant level, on a just frequent thing, I don't. No, I don't. I am enjoying my life. I love my life. I love the things that I get to do or the things that I don't get to do yet. I just love it. It's freeing. My mental health is flourishing, and I've cried less. And not to say crying is bad. Cry, please let it out. I stay letting it out. But this year, I haven't had many reasons to just be sad. Best decision I've made this year. I would not trade it for anything else. I absolutely love it. I am happier. I am at peace. Not to say, obviously, life is life, but if I can remove one more thing that causes me pain, that causes me suffering, unnecessary suffering, then I will take it off. And I did, and I'm so happy. Anyways, guys, I hope this has been useful for you. I really, really hope it's been useful for you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.